Balik ta sa atong programang Republika kahinabi pagyapon nato si Secretary Raffy Alunan. Ako pa rin po si Eric Espina. So, Mr. Secretary, I'll just put in a very short question. People are talking about militarization of the customs. Is that part of the phenomenon of why the customs in itself is a problematic agency?
I think the thinking of the president there is that if the problem is out of hand, his belief is that the military can restore order.
Okay.
No? But there are many things, many angles here. Number one, is he using ex-military or active military? Okay. If he's putting ex-military in plantilla positions, then he's not violating the law. Right? If he's using military, active military to protect
Yes.
those in charge,
Yes.
and to secure them against any untoward incident.
That's okay.
Then that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's their job.
Yes.
Right? Of course, the question is he putting active military in plantilla positions?
Yes.
If the answer is yes, then
That's a problem.
then he should back out because it's violative of the Constitution. And besides, we're not yet a martial law
Yes.
regime, right?
Yes.
In fact, we're not a martial law regime, and we should veer away from that, right? So now, I think the question is what to do with BOC.
Yes.
During our time with President Ramos, we had a very good BOC chief, Willie Paraino.
Okay. Yes.
He succeeded Ramon Farolan, who was also very good.
Yes.
He also succeeded Salvador Mison.
Oh, yes.
These are three ex-military men.
Yes.
All right? Now, who backed them up? A private firm, SGS. The operations of customs was privatized,
French.
Swiss.
Swiss.
It was a Swiss firm. And the whole purpose was improve collections, right? Cut down on corruption, improve efficiency. And they did it.
It was like a management contract.
It was a management contract,
Yes.
an operations contract.
Yeah.
And they did it. They achieved the purpose, no? But then at some point, after President Ramos, some people changed their minds, and well, the old culture came back, no?
Made it a milking cow again.
Tinanggal yung SGS. No? Now, I'm not gunning for SGS to come back.
Yes.
I'm saying we should outsource to a private firm that has a very, very good global reputation. Perhaps if SGS is still the same, then bring them back. If not, bring others into the picture, no, to help out, because extraordinary times call for extraordinary measures.
The problem is no longer smuggling, no, but drug trafficking already. Using customs as the entry point for into our country.
I think those are drug smuggling and contraband and other forms of contraband are a result of our corrupt culture.
Yes.
Kasi if we're not corrupt, hindi makakapasok yan.
Yes.
Ang problema is we're corrupt, and we don't have a sense of national interest. It's all self-interest. It's all vested interest.
And the costings are getting higher.
It's getting more expensive.
For the bribery.
It's getting more expensive. And the cost of doing business in this country is getting higher and higher. And it's disadvantageous to those who are following the rules.
Okay. Yeah. The last point is security.
Yes, the third point in my agenda,
Yes.
Eric, is security. We have to
This is your agenda. This is not Bagong Bayan.
no, this is also Bagong Bayan.
Okay.
Yes, a strong national defense.
Okay.
No? But I have to look at security from a national security standpoint, which has gone beyond the traditional borders of national defense. Human and ecological security, which is intertwined to my earlier bullet points, which is protect and build, no? All the way to internal security and national security. So I'd like to focus now on national security and internal security. We need to upgrade our capacities to address threats from within and from without. Kulang na kulang tayo sa gamit at saka sa doktrina to deal with external threats.
Yes.
Okay, we have not invested in that. Proof is that on the average, ASEAN countries spend about 3% of GDP for their defense.
Okay.
We have been underspending at 1%.
Okay.
Which is why inuupakan tayo lagi. Maski nino, they take advantage of our weakness, like taking over our reefs and our shores,
Yes.
and entering our exclusive economic zone at will. No, we have to put a stop to that by building our defenses. And mabuti na lang sa national security strategy natin under President Duterte, nakalatag lahat yun, including the funding.
Okay.
What Congress has to do is to come up with a policy direction na dapat we should spend at least 3% of GDP so that we can catch up and ably protect ourselves. And look at the investment, look at the expenditure not as a cost but as an investment. No? Kasi may return on investment yan eh. If you're able to protect your resources in the EEZ, hindi pupunta sa ibang bansa.
Yes.
You'll be makikinabang ka sa sarili mong resources. Okay. The other is investing in equipment for internal security purposes.
Okay.
Because we're still dealing with insurgency, we're still dealing with terrorism, we're still dealing with secession.
Yes.
No? We may be able to sign a peace agreement with the MILF, but there's many splinter groups that have left the MILF and are still focused on secession or putting up their own caliphate.
Okay.
No? And so we have to strengthen our capacities. But in this particular case, pagdating sa internal threat, it's not enough that we build our police and our military. We have to make sure that our local governments are functioning. Kasi dito nakakalusot eh. Yung mga terorista, mga kriminal, ano? Pag, yung
so you have to have strong DILG secretary also there.
Yes, because like President Digong, we were working together in the Peace and Order Councils. We made sure that the Peace and Order Councils looked after the internal security and safety of their people, of their constituents, no?
Hindi ho ba pwede yung DILG gawing parang ideological center for our local governments?
For sure, dapat.
It's not being done, no?
Not yet. Not yet. Actually, in the past, we were doing that through Oplan Pagbabago.
Okay.
No, that was our overarching plan to transform local governance and also the DILG institution. To
all the way to the barangay level? How
all the way
to the barangay level.
No? And to include our attached agencies, police, fire, jail. No?
Yes.
It was a holistic plan. Kasama na doon yung Oplan Paglalansag, which was to break up private armies because yung political culture natin formed around violence and suppression and oppression. So, binuwag namin yung mga private armies and recovered loose firearms. In fact, President Ramos said that was the second biggest haul of illegal firearms since martial law. So, kaya lang, yung continuity does not exist in our political vocabulary.
Martial law is on Mindanao. Shouldn't we be capitalizing on, getting as many firearms out of illegal hands?
I think that's ongoing, except that maybe kulang lang sa strategic communication, ano? It may not be happening. That's why I cannot comment as much because there's not enough feedback coming out, no? But that should be top priority sa Mindanao.
Yes.
Lalo na with the elections coming up. I think the DILG is aware of it. I think the PNP is aware of it. It's just that maybe we're not getting enough feedback as to anong successes in the field, no? Achievements.
How do you input martial law and then you have a coming election in 2019?
Well, no, yung imposition
Mindanao,
imposition of martial law there is to protect the people against insurgents and terrorists,
Okay.
ano? So that gives the military and the police the necessary leeway to strike before anything happens or to react quickly should anything untoward happen. But they're not using this in a manner where, unlike
in the previous
regime, no, martial law regime, where they abused their powers.
It became a political tool.
It became a political tool. It's not being used as a political tool. It's used as a deterrent against criminality, insurgency, and terrorism.
In the same way that troops are now being sent to Negros and Bohol and all those other areas?
Yes, I suspect, and I have to grant the president the leeway, or to exercise his prerogative, given the intelligence exchange, the intelligence information he's receiving.
Yes.
If he is receiving information to the effect that the insurgents and the terrorists are moving to other parts of the country because may pizza Mindanao.
Or they want to control the elections in 2019?
Well, I don't know, that's speculation. But if they're transferring to other places because they cannot really move in Mindanao dahil sa martial law, and going to places where there's no martial law, then it makes sense to redeploy troops, to blunt their attack. But I think we're missing out on a very important narrative here.
Which is?
The local governments have to work.
Yes.
They have to make sure that the conditions for insurgency do not exist in their localities.
Yes.
But if they're pabaya, if they themselves are involved in suppression, oppression, they're just feeding the insurgency. Kawawa naman yung ating mga sundalo at kapulisan.
Should we be sending troops, securing areas where you have a very active communist movement, which in a sense will affect the elections?
In our campaign, counterinsurgency campaign, regardless of whether it was election period or not, it was important that we confront the armed threat, all right, contain them, all right. And if the armed threat came from political warlords, that was where Oplan Paglalansag came in.
Yes.
To break up those armies, private armies, and recover the
arms.
The arms.
Yeah.
Why? Because the objective was to protect the people.
Yes. Okay. A while ago, you mentioned about the 3% expenditure for our defense. The common chorus of the simple mind is that why spend so much money for security when, the usual lament of poverty, housing, social reforms first before military. How do you answer that?
Well, that's because of corruption. We have a lot of money, but it's going into the wrong pockets. No, so building our national defense is a constitutional mandate. We are responsible for our own defense.
Yes.
Okay, so we have to invest in that, whether we like it or not.
Yes.
All right. But poverty is a problem based on our lack of values, based on our lack of sense of national purpose. We don't understand what national interest is. Doon kailangan pagbabago sa ating ugali. No? If we're able to change our ugali, we'll be able to shrink the conditions that lead to poverty, injustice, and violence. No? And this is totally unrelated to our constitutional mandate to defend and protect the country and our resources. No? It should be divorced from that. Ang kailangan natin atakihin, the real enemy of poverty and injustice is ourselves, our own ugali.
Okay.
No? Kagaya nga ni sinabi ni General Luna, punyeta, bayan o sarili. Yun.
Negosyo or bayan?
Negosyo
bayan or negosyo?
Bayan o negosyo.
Okay. And then you made mention a while ago that the MILF may end up into different factions, and there may be other factions.
Actually, it's already factionalized.
It's factionalized already.
It's factionalized.
So, with the BOL coming up, and there are some voices in southern Mindanao, especially in Holosolo, that says that the BOL is heavily favored for the MILF and is therefore non-exclusive even of the royal families, the Lumads, when Republika returns.